Hello everybody and welcome back to the Jaxon Show. I'm your host Jaxon, and today I got MLB predictions. We're going to talk standings, we're going to talk awards, and we're also going to get some predictions for the Tokyo series coming up tomorrow morning. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so the MLB season starts next week, but the Tokyo series is technically official opening day. So we're going to put out some MLB regular season predictions for you guys. So don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Comment question of the day. Who do you have winning the World Series this year? Leave it down below. We won't get to MLB playoffs this episode, maybe get into that maybe later on in the week or next week, before opening day sometime. So but yeah, we're gonna do some standings and we're gonna do some awards. So we're gonna start with the standings for the MLB, and then the MLB is a little bit different. It's 15 teams in each conference and 5 divisions. Divisional games are most important, as you have to win your division to get home field advantage in the postseason. Kind of like the NBA, except NBA divisions don't matter as much. So we're going to start in the American League East Division with the historic rivalry of the Yankees and the Red Sox. They have the Blue Jays and the Orioles rivalry and the Tampa Bay Rays. I have this division top to bottom. Orioles... I've got the Orioles finishing in first place, Red Sox finishing in second place, Yankees finishing in third place, Toronto Blue Jays finishing in fourth place, and Tampa Bay Rays finishing fifth. Now, I just want to get this off my chest. I could have put the Yankees fourth and the Blue Jays third, but I'm going to keep it a buck, and I'm going to keep it right where it is. I think the Orioles and the Red Sox both make the playoffs. I think the Orioles are just the best team in the American League East Division. The only problem the Baltimore is running into from keeping them from a World Series is, can they win the playoffs? They're having a real issue with winning a postseason game. They haven't done it, and they've made the playoffs these last 2 seasons, and they've hosted 2 playoff games. So I'm thinking maybe they need to go on the road, but I think this Baltimore squad might be a little too good for that. Second place, we got the Boston Red Sox. They just added Alex Bregman this offseason, so I think they're going to be really good. I think if Tristan Casas can get back right, I think Rafael Devers is still going to be good despite his advanced age. Masataka Yoshida is supposed to be moving up in the order. There's a lot of promise, in my opinion, in Boston. Then we get to third, which is the Yankees, and a lot of people, I feel like, are going to take this the wrong way. I don't believe in the Yankees this year. I said this in my MLB offseason video. Go check that out. But I don't believe in the Yankees this season, and here's why. The New York Yankees have already suffered 3 major injuries in spring training. Injuries to Luis Gil, who was the Rookie of the Year in the American League last season. They lost Garrett Cole to a season-ending Tommy John surgery, and Giancarlo Stanton's going to miss opening day. I haven't taken a look at the Yankee schedule, I can't lie, but if they do play some tough teams, which I think they do in the beginning of the season, they're going to have a rough time going through that. Now, don't quote me on it. Like I said, I haven't seen the Yankees' first couple of games, so there's that. But Aaron Judge is back in right field, and if you ask me, that's just a bad sign of things to come, as Aaron Judge in right field usually means that he will not stay healthy. As 2023 he didn't stay healthy, and in 2021 he wasn't very healthy either. Although the Yankees made the playoffs that year, those were 2 years Aaron Judge played right field, whereas 2020 and 2024 he played in center field. They won the division and took it pretty far in the playoffs. So there's 2 big differences between those years' Yankees and this year's Yankees. Aaron Judge is back in right field, so that's gonna pose a problem for me. Number 4, the Toronto Blue Jays. I got the Blue Jays here. I like slugger Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I like Anthony Santander to hit maybe above in the 3 or the 4 hole. I think the Blue Jays this year are going to be a little underrated, but I don't agree with anybody that says Toronto can make the playoffs. Granted, they're playing in a weaker conference, the American League West. American League definitely got weaker over the off season. And there's not a lot of good competitive teams in the American League, as you're gonna see as we move in deeper in my standing predictions. But I think Toronto is a balanced team for sure, and I expect the Blue Jays to finish fourth in this division, and the only reason I have them fourth is because they're better than the Tampa Bay Rays, who I think are going to tank this year. The Rays, we talk about the Rays rotation, how they've got so much good young pitching, and the truth is the Tampa Bay really does have great, fantastic young pitching, but I think the problem with Tampa Bay this year is there's not a lot of sluggers in this lineup. They traded away Randy Rosarena. I don't know, Yandy Diaz is probably going to be shipped at the deadline. Tampa Bay, not a lot of promise for the Rays. Moving on to the American League Central Division. Now, this is the division with your Detroit Tigers in it. And, of course, I got the Tigers winning the division. I don't know how many games they're going to win, but I definitely know that they're better than the 4 other teams in this division. Give me the Tigers. They just added Gleyber Torres. They added to their bullpen. They added to their rotation. And although Alex Cobb is going to miss the first month of the season, they still got Casey Mize. They still got Jaxon Show. They still got a ton of young pitching, which the Tigers are really known for. Their pitching. So I think the Tigers are going to be just fine. And if Colt Keith can stay hot, if what's his name? If we can get Torres to be great in the field, if Javi Baez can be efficient, going to need the same sort of efficiency from Parker Meadows, so I think it's going to go on opening day. We're going to get some news on Parker Meadows coming up next week, I think. But yeah, man. Tigers definitely, Tigers definitely, I think they win the division. Now, second in the division is going to be the Kansas City Royals. Kansas City Royals, they definitely were a really good baseball team last year. They did their thing last year. Successful last season. Love Bobby Witt. Love, I don't like Kansas City that much, but, there's definitely young talent on this team, and I think they got better with the addition of Jonathan India. I wouldn't say that was the best move made by the division this offseason. Some writers at MLB.com. But Kansas City, they were very good. They were very consistent. They've got a decent rotation, and so Kansas City, a team that I like to finish second in this division. Now here's third, and this is kind of where I was with the American League Central too. You could switch up the Guardians, put them at 4 and the Twins at 3, or you could put the Guardians at 3 and the Twins at 4. But I put the Cleveland Guardians at 3. I think they're going to ride this postseason high. Now, granted, nobody has won this division in back-to-back seasons since the Twins did it in 2019 and 2020 when they, during the COVID season, although a lot of people are going to say that COVID season doesn't count. I'm going to give it to them anyways. But I got Cleveland at 3. They trade away Josh Naylor. They brought in Carlos Santana. They brought back Shane Bieber. So I think the Guardians are going to be fine, especially if Shane Bieber can make it out of May. Or make it out of April, because he did not last year. I think Cleveland's going to be fine, but there is that switch where, Cleveland's going to get pounded by injuries. Their pitching, their young talent, Gavin Williams, Tanner Bybee, Logan Allen, that trio of young pitching in Cleveland is not going to succeed like they did a year ago, and there's always that potential they could drop to the 4. I guess you could say they're tied for third, tied for fourth, these two teams. But the Minnesota Twins, they have Carlos Correa. There's not a lot of upside in Minnesota right now. You don't really have a guy that could play everyday first base. You brought in Harrison Bader, but you still got Royce Lewis, who's most likely going to DH. I don't know what they're going to do with Byron Buxton. He was inconsistent last year. And so, Minnesota, there's some problems that they can bring on from last year that they're going to find their way through. But there's also going to be there's also a chance that they can, push through and make that way to that 3 seed or the final wild card spot in the American League. And last but not least, I got the Chicago White Sox. White Sox, worst team in baseball as of this point. Luis Roberts definitely going to get shipped at the deadline. Martin Perez, I mentioned this in my off-season grades video. I definitely think that he's going to get shipped at the deadline, depending on how he pitches. Chicago, definitely going to be predicted to finish at the bottom of the division this year. Although I will say that Chicago, if you're a White Sox fan, you need to watch your baseball team because there's a lot of young talent on this team that is possibly your future, including number one prospect in the organization, Colson Montgomery. So there's that. The American League West Division, Texas Rangers. Everything's bigger in Texas, right? Including the disappointment for the World Series champions. World Series champions 2 years ago, the Texas Rangers. An incredible Cinderella run. They beat Baltimore, the number one overall seed in the American League. Took down the Astros, who were a powerhouse at the time. And then won the World Series against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who also took down 2 juggernauts in the postseason. Last year, I will say that the Rangers were hammered by injuries. But this offseason, they lost they lost Max Scherzer, brought back Eovaldi, brought back DeGrom, and the pitching this season for Texas has got to be on point. Otherwise, this division is in the hands of who I have at number 2, maybe even at number 3 or number 4. So, at number 2, I got the Houston Astros. Obviously, they're not going to have a great year, I don't think, after trading away Kyle Tucker, but there's a good chance they still make the playoffs. Under not Carlos Mendoza. I forgot their manager name. I forgot the manager name. Joe Espada, yes. Under Joe Espada. They still have Altuve. They still have they brought in Brendan Rodgers this offseason. So the Houston definitely gonna be. I don't think they're gonna win the division this year, but they definitely got a good shot at making the playoffs, especially with the American League being weaker than a lot of people would say. The Mariners, I got at 3rd, but once again, they could finish 4th in this division, and the team I have at 4 can finish 3rd. The Seattle Mariners, they got Julio Rodriguez, and if Julio Rodriguez stays healthy, if Kyle Raleigh stays healthy, if J.P. Crawford basically, if the bats stay healthy, they can really take this thing to the top. Now, I looked at a list, and this was the top 10 list of pitching staffs in Major League Baseball. Number 10 was the Seattle Mariners, and that kind of makes me think, is Seattle pretty underrated? Because they've got an outstanding rotation. Castillo, Kirby, Gilbert, Wu, and Bryce Miller. So, this team, they're on fire. They're on a roll. I'm excited to see what Seattle's rotation can do, but it's all about the bats this year. If the bats can stay healthy, Seattle's got a really good chance of taking this division or finishing on second place. Alright, so Seattle, very high ceiling, I think very low floor. Because the 2 teams below them might be worse or better for the team. It just depends on. I haven't watched a lot of spring training, I'll be honest. But honestly, the big question is who does watch a lot of spring training. I personally haven't watched it, so I don't know a lot of the stuff on these 2 teams right here. But I got the Athletics at 4, Angels at 5. Athletics, you're going to have to hear me out. Athletics added to their pitching rotation this year. They proved last year that they were better than the Angels. The Angels kept a lot of their same pieces, didn't really let anybody go. They just added a lot of pieces. Also, the bats for the Athletics are very good. Lawrence Butler hitting at the top of the lineup, very productive. Brent Rooker, who signed an extension either this year or last year, very good as well. I like the Athletics finishing 4th, but they could possibly steal this division from Texas, finish 3rd or 2nd in this division. Very good division that the Athletics are stuck in. Now, 5th, I got the Los Angeles Angels, and I still think they can win the division too. Here's why. I think if Mike Trout is healthy, there is a good chance Los Angeles can make the postseason. Now, it's going to take more than Mike Trout. You're definitely going to need a better center fielder than Joe Adell. For sure. You're definitely going to need a better center fielder than Mickey Moniak. For sure. But I think that if Mike Trout is consistent at the plate, he swings a good bat, he's healthy, he plays an entire season, I think the Angels have got a really good shot at making the playoffs this year. If they're contending at the deadline, and I can see this team contending, they could add one more bat. I think that this team adds one more bat next to Soler at the top of the order. I think he's going to hit leadoff or second. Trout. Then you got Yohan Moncada, who's probably going to hit bottom of the lineup. This team is very good, very stacked. But it all comes down to one guy, and that one guy is Mike Trout. So if Mike Trout can come through and provide for the Angels, that would be fantastic. Especially for all the Angels fans out there. All right. One conference down, one conference to go. The National League is similar to the American League, where they have 3 divisions. Division winners host a playoff game. So, National League East Division, the Atlanta Braves, the New York Mets, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Washington Nationals, the Miami Marlins. Let's take it from the top. Atlanta Braves. Statistically, this was one of the best teams in baseball if they stayed healthy. If injuries did not exist in a perfect universe, and we started the season out on opening day and injuries were off, the Braves were statistically the best team in baseball, but last year they weren't. And I think Spencer Strider's going to come back. They got the Cy Young Award winner in Chris Sale. There's a lot of upside for the Braves. The only downside is if the Braves succeed this season, it's going to depend on the health and the productivity of the guys stepping into the batter's box. I think Marcell Ozuna, if he gets injured or is inconsistent, you can't deal with that, man. And especially, I think it's a contract year for Ozuna as well. So, the Braves, they got to have some sort of consistency at the plate, and they got to stay healthy, especially with the bats, but also the pitching staff as well. Spencer Strider going out for the season was a huge blow to the Braves last year. And this rotation does not look experienced. Granted, this is the regular season. They're going to get roughed up a little bit, but the rotation does not look good in Atlanta. But I still think the Braves can get this one. Now, number 2, I got the New York Mets. Mets made a lot of changes this offseason. First of all, they signed Juan Soto to a $15 year, $750 million contract. The biggest contract in all of sports. But, yeah, and some people are saying that's the worst contract of all time. They traded for Jose Siri. They still have starting Marte, who can play center field. But that's besides the point. They made a deep run in the playoffs last year, made it all the way to the NLCS after just barely surviving Game 3 of the Wild Card Series. They re-signed Pete Alonso. He's back on a 2-year deal. They added Clay Holmes. This team is definitely going to go places. Now, the question is, what are you going to do? Because I think Sean Manaea is injured to open up the season. So Kodai Senga is going to have to step into that ace role that Sean Manaea was in for most of the season last year for the Mets. But the Mets are a very good baseball team. I think Juan Soto is fantastic, and he could carry this team. I've yet to see Juan Soto have not played a full season. I think he's played in full seasons. It's just the question is, can he be consistent? And I think he will be consistent. I don't think he'll hit 40 home runs in his first season. I think he's going to hit something more moderate, like 38. But, the Mets, they, first year with Juan Soto, I don't think they're going to win the division. Now, finishing third in the National League East, I got the Phillies. I think their rotation definitely got better with the addition of Jesus Luzardo. The thing is, Max Kepler's not going to do much to the lineup. I think it's just going to be the Anthony Rendon signing, where he's just old, and his production is going to get worse throughout the years of his contract. But you know, Phillies definitely, I think are going to make the playoffs. The only problem I have with the Phillies right now is you might have to play New York in the first round. Because there's no way, I don't think they're going to be a 6 seed. Nationals and Marlins, I think the Nationals, every year they go into free agency, they spend a bucket on a bunch of players on a bunch of veterans that are going to be really good for their team, but the rest of their lineup is not very good. For example, they signed Nathaniel Lau and Josh Bell. Their outfield is young. The rest of their infield is young. But those two signings, I just feel like they're both pieces that are going to be traded away. And it's nothing against the Nationals. It's just, they do this every year. The Nationals need to draft first baseman. Especially considering you got Nathaniel Lowe on your team. The Miami Marlins are one of the worst teams in baseball. I don't have to explain myself any further. I just don't think that they're going to be very successful this year. National League Central Division. This is the division with the Cubs, Reds, Brewers, Pirates, and Cardinals. And so my division standings are going to be first. Leading off at the Cubs. Chicago added Kyle Tucker this off-season. They did lose Cody Bellinger, though. And that's something that's kind of crazy to me. They traded for Ryan Presley. They lost Cody Bellinger, which I'm going to say again. But biggest question for the Cubs, I think they answered in camp. They're going to go to Tokyo, play the Dodgers. I think the biggest question for me from the Cubs was who is going to play third base, because I know Justin Turner definitely isn't going to be your everyday third baseman since he hasn't played the position in 2 years, and he's not. He's going to be a bench player for them. They called up Matt Shaw, and I assume he would be the everyday third baseman, considering he's got good pop, got good speed. John Birdie, on the other hand, is going to be more of your utility guy, and I think he's going to start second base on opening day, depending on the Nico Horner situation. If you're a Cubs fan, looking very, very good in Chicago. Now, the second team that finishes second in the National League Central, I got the Milwaukee Brewers. Reason why I have the Milwaukee Brewers finishing in this spot and over any other team, and I gotta be honest, this might be my favorite division in all of baseball, because I feel like every team in this division is good, except for maybe teams that are rebuilding. I got the Brew Crew finishing second in this division. I think Yelich stays healthy. He was an MVP candidate last year. They got Jackson Show, who finished second in National League Rookie of the Year voting last year. Milwaukee is a very good team. They've got a great future. The only thing that can change Milwaukee's outlook is Freddie Peralta and Brandon Woodruff. Tobias Myers, can he hold down the fort? Maybe. Jose Quintana, can he hold down the fort? Maybe. Freddie Peralta and Brandon Woodruff definitely can, but Brandon Woodruff, he hasn't pitched since, I think, 2022 or 2021. It has been years since I've seen Brandon Woodruff step on a mound for Milwaukee, and they just brought him back so that he would avoid facing free agency on another one-year deal. I don't understand what Milwaukee is doing paying a player that is going to be injured, and I think 29 other teams have noticed, hey, this guy's injured, so he won't get picked up in free agency. When he's healthy, okay, we're going to bring back Brandon Woodruff. There you go. But I don't know. No. Cincinnati, on the other hand, I have them finishing third. I think Cincinnati, though the Reds are very good and very talented. I don't think... Well, there's a shot. There's a good chance I think Cincinnati can squeak into the playoffs as a 6th seed for sure. I would love to see LA De La Cruz in the playoffs. Question for Cincinnati is their infield. I saw Gavin Lux might start at third base this year. There's some potential that he could play in the outfield as him and Matt McClain. You know, that's the biggest issue facing camp is what are we going to do with Gavin Lux. But Cincinnati, they're looking very nice. I like Cincinnati this year, and I think they could run and maybe become a 6th seed. And number 4, I got the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't know what to say about this team because every year they start hot and something happens and they just go cold. Pittsburgh was on a collision course for the playoffs last year and they blew it, basically. They didn't get in, and it's just so disappointing because they were one of the hottest teams in baseball. I think they hit 8 home runs in a game once against the Atlanta Braves. Like, this team was incredible. One of the best teams in baseball, one of the more fun teams in baseball to watch. So, you know, Pittsburgh, I mean, what the heck? Now we got the team that finishes 5th in the division, which is going to be the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't see the Cardinals going anywhere. You just traded away Paul Goldschmidt. And I say that like it's going to really matter. I don't think that really matters. I think for a team like St. Louis, got to have good pitching. And right now, it's Sonny Gray, Miles Michaelis, not anybody else. Not really good pitching for St. Louis. And like I said, everybody else in this division is really talented. This division really could go 5 ways. 5 teams could get the number 1 seed. But I like Cincinnati or Chicago in this division. Now, the National League West division, most improved division over the offseason for literally everybody except the Padres and the Rockies. Rockies in a rebuild, Padres didn't add anybody. Dodgers, Diamondbacks, and Giants signed, all 3 of them signed big-time free agents. First of all, Teoscar Hernandez back to the Dodgers. Roki Sasaki, Michael Conforto. D-backs signed Corbin Burns, and the Giants signed Willie Adames. How do I have this division shaken out? I'm so glad you asked. Dodgers are going to take the division, and I think they're going to win it by 5 games. Not a single team in this division is going to compete for a playoff. Or, well, they're going to compete for wild card spots, but they're not competing for the division, especially with Roki Sasaki. Now, the second team in this division, I got the Arizona Diamondbacks. Pitching definitely got better, and this team was on the verge of making the playoffs last year. They didn't make the playoffs last year, and I mean, they would have been so fun to watch in the playoffs again. They would have played Milwaukee, who they played the first year they went to the World, or 2022 when they went to the World Series. Would have been fun to watch. Or, excuse me, 2023. The third team in this division, I got the Giants. Willie Adames signing definitely puts them over the top. The Justin Verlander signing is the only thing that can take him down to 4th in this division. Nobody's going to finish 5th except Colorado. I'll be honest, Colorado not a very good team this year. But the Giants, definitely have the Giants finishing 3rd in this division, and 4th is the Padres. Padres, they don't have a DH. Think about moving Manny Machado to DH. Who's going to play 3rd? Igor Rosario can't. You know, the Padres have a ton of problems in the fielding work. They've also got questions about whether they're going to trade Dylan Cease. And I'm questioning the Padres management right now. Like, what? Are you okay? Are you going to do something? Are you, like, what are the Padres doing right now? Because I'm confused. Yeah. Those are my 2025 regular season MLB standings. Alright, so could not finish on that. We still gotta get to the awards. Now, I'm going to be handing out 3 different awards. An award for the American League, award for the National League, and a dark horse to win the award if the first 2 don't get it. I'll be handing out 4 different awards today. First off, we got MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, and Manager of the Year. So without further ado, I'm just going to get straight into it. American League MVP. You can get ready. Give me Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson was a great player last year, was definitely great defensively last year, and he had a ton of home runs in the leadoff spot. He did a cold patch. Late in the season, and he definitely had a cold patch with the in the postseason against Kansas City. But other than that, I like Gunnar Henderson for sure to win MVP, especially with I have the Orioles finishing at the top of the division. Now, moving on to the National League MVP, I got Shohei Ohtani from the Dodgers. Shohei was hitting. Now, Shohei's never won a Cy Young. That has got to be changed. And although he is a designated hitter as well, he's also a pitcher, so he should have won a Cy Young. But I don't know. Maybe the voters still feel his numbers are not good enough. Look, Shohei Ohtani, in my opinion, is the greatest baseball player of all time. Barry Bonds was very good. Babe Ruth was very good. But none of them can do what Shohei Ohtani's doing right now. Pitching and hitting. The game has changed for sure. Especially when we have rookies coming into the major leagues, throwing 100, 203, adapting pitchers, creating new pitches. Babe Ruth, and I don't think Barry Bonds could keep up with just how Shohei's hitting all these pitches. 103 right down the middle, smacked back up the middle. You know, it's a different game from when those two played. And I think the level of competition is getting better, and I think Shohei, him playing in this era where competition is still very good, that makes him one of my best, or not my, the best player of all time to me. I have winning MVP. He returns to the hill this year. I think he's going to do great in his Dodger debut on the mound. And I also think he's got to hit a home run in his Dodger debut on the mound. So there's that. Now, my dark horse MVP is not really a dark horse, but he is being blocked by Shohei Ohtani. It's Juan Soto. Like I said, Juan Soto is probably going to hit 38 bombs, but he also is going to draw. He's probably going to lead the league in walks, lead the league he's going to have the least amount of strikeouts in all of baseball this year between qualifying participants. I think Juan Soto is a very good player. He's one of my favorite players to watch. I like Juan Soto a lot, so there's that. Moving on to the Cy Young Award. We're going to give American League Cy Young to last year's Cy Young Award winner, Tarek Skubal. I think if Scoob stays healthy this season, he is definitely going to win the Cy Young for the second season in a row. He's only getting better. So if he's going to throw harder this year. And like I said, I got the Tigers winning the division. So you can go ahead and hate, but where's that going to get you? The National League Cy Young is going to be a player that I don't like very much. This is going to Paul Skeens. I don't know, man. Just something between me and Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens, great pitcher. I saw this video the other day, and it talked about Paul Skeens. He throws hard, man. He throws 102, 103. And, he just got out of the minor leagues in May of last year. He's no longer eligible as a rookie, but, he's an exceptional pitcher. And he started the All-Star game, too. He did start the All-Star game, yes. He's got 8 different pitches now heading into camp. He's got 2 additional pitches. So he has 8 pitches in his arsenal that he could go to. Now, here's my dark horse Cy Young, and maybe you could switch my original Cy Young pick with my dark horse. I know definitely I'm going to play that card. But I got Yoshinobu Yamamoto is my dark horse Cy Young. I could also have him as my Cy Young Award winner, but it's more likely Paul Skeens will win it. Yoshinobu Yamamoto has got some of the best breaking stuff I've ever seen. Was really great in the playoffs last year, and he's going to start opening day for the Dodgers in Tokyo, which I'm excited to watch the highlights of, because I'm not waking up at 6 o'clock to watch a baseball game, unfortunately. American League Rookie of the Year is going to be, for me, Jaxon Show. But I know this is going to seem like bias, but honestly, I don't think so. I got an honorable mention for this one. I think Jason Dominguez also, he still qualifies as a rookie. But the thing is, for me, and this is just for me personally, Jason Dominguez, I don't think he's gonna make the Major League roster. And that could pose a problem. I think Oswaldo maybe could play left field. I think they're gonna put maybe Bellinger in left or Judge in left and have Grisham start in center or something like that. I don't know what the Yankees are going to do, but there's a chance that Jason Dominguez doesn't make the roster. Now, if he does, he has a very high potential, very high ceiling. Worst case scenario, you can expect send back to AAA, and the Yankees are in serious trouble. National League Rookie of the Year, I got Roki Sasaki. I think the kid's going to get off to a rough start like Yamamoto did, but he's going to bounce back. And I think he's also going to stay healthy and pitch a complete first season, unlike Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Dark horse for Rookie of the Year is going to be Dylan Cruz. Kid showing incredible pop, and I love the fact that he hit at the top of the line for the Nationals last year. I know I said the Nationals aren't a very good team, and they're not going to make the playoffs this year, but Dylan Cruz is definitely going to be one of the brighter spots. Him and James Wynn in the outfield, like I said, very young outfield. Definitely think that they're going to do some great things. Now, American League Manager of the Year, I got AJ Hinch of the Detroit Tigers. AJ Hinch, the Detroit Tigers. I got the Tigers winning the Central Division, which is why I have AJ Hinch on this spot, because the Tigers haven't done that in a long time. They're trying to make it back to the World Series for the first time since, I believe it was 2012. Trying to get back to the World Series. I think AJ Hinch is a great manager. He should have won Manager of the Year last year. He just didn't. But it's okay. And National League Manager of the Year, I got Craig Counsell of the Chicago Cubs. And my dark horse for Manager of the Year, Tito Francona, who is now Manager of the Reds after he retired as Manager of the Guardians. Crazy world that we live in. Goes from one Ohio team to another. I'm sure he's going to be happy in his reunion. But yeah, those are my MLB rewards. We're going to get some Tokyo Series predictions, and then we're going to wrap up today's show. So, coming up next on the Jaxon Show. Alright, so last but not least, the Tokyo Series between the Dodgers and the Cubs. First game is tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. I don't know if you're on the West Coast. The two teams are going to play in the Tokyo Dome in Seoul, South Korea. The Dodgers going to send Yoshinobu Yamamoto to the mound, while the Cubs are going to send Shota Imanaga. The game's going to be broadcast on Fox. I would love to watch this game, but I just don't think I can. I will say this. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm going to say the series is a split, for sure. But I think the Dodgers win Yamamoto's start, and I think the Cubs win the Sasaki start in Game 2. I think Roki Sasaki is going to have a rough start to the MLB. Although he's a very good pitcher, and he held his own against the best players in the world. I think MLB hitting is definitely different. Now, there is only one note that I would like to make about this series, and the note that I'm going to make is that Mookie Betts is not going to play in this series. He's sick. He's out with an illness, and reports that I've read said that he has lost 15 pounds. So Mookie Betts wasn't a very tall baseball player, wasn't a very buff baseball player. Very skinny. He's a great right fielder, great shortstop, but he will not be in the Tokyo Series on opening day. Hopefully he'll play on the 27th when the Dodgers play the Tigers in Los Angeles. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's episode of the Jaxon Show. Today was a great episode. I enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. And don't forget to tune into the next episode of the Jaxon Show. And as always, bring a friend.